everybody. Welcome back to Goodnight Lighthouse. I'm Miss Dorothy and I'm here to read you another story. And I've got a really fun book tonight about what happens when you play with markers. You know how much we love to color with markers. Well, sometimes when we color with markers, things can get out of hand. And that's what happens in this book called Purple, Green, and Yellow. Purple, green, and yellow. This is a story about a little girl who asked her mom for markers, and her mom says, okay, but you can't go crazy with them. I wonder if she does, because sometimes it's hard not to go crazy when you have great markers. We're going to need to get inside this book and find out what happens with these purple, green, and yellow markers. Are you ready to get inside this book with Miss Dorothy? Good. I need you to sit up and listen up, because here we go.
Purple, Green, and Yellow, written by Robert Munsch, illustrated by Hélène Desputeaux. Brigid went to her mother and said, I need some coloring markers. All my friends have coloring markers. They draw wonderful pictures. Mummy, I need some coloring markers. Oh, no, said her mother. I've heard all about those coloring markers. Kids draw on walls. They draw on the floor. They draw on themselves. You can't have any coloring markers, said her mother. Well, said Brigid, there are these new coloring markers. They wash off with just water. I can't get into any trouble with coloring markers that wash off. Give me some of those. Well, said her mother, all right. So her mother went out and got Brigid 500 washable coloring markers. Brigid went up to her room and drew wonderful pictures. She drew lemons that were yellower than lemons, and roses that were redder than roses, and oranges that were oranger than oranges. Wow, she's having a really good time coloring with her new coloring markers. Her mother was amazed. She said, wow, my kid is an artist. Her mom's very proud. But after a week, Brigid got bored. She went to her mother and said, Mom, did I draw on the wall? No, said her mother. Did I draw on the floor? No, said her mother. Did I draw on myself? No, said her mother. Well, said Brigid, I didn't get in any trouble and I need some new coloring markers. All my friends have them. Mommy, there are coloring markers that smell. They have ones that smell like roses and lemons and oranges and even ones that smell like cow plops. Mom, they have coloring markers that smell like anything you want. Mom, I need those coloring markers. Her mother went out and got 500 coloring markers that smelled. Then Brigid went upstairs and she drew pictures. She drew lemons that smelled like lemons, and roses that smelled like roses, and oranges that smelled like oranges, and cow plops that smelled like cow plops. Oh my goodness, why would she want to draw cow plops? That smells like poop. Her mother said, wow, my kid is an artist. But after a week, Brigid got bored. She said, Mom, did I draw on the floor? No, said her mother. Did I draw on the walls? No, said her mother. Did I draw on myself? No, said her mother. Oh no, what does Brigid want now? Well, said Brigid, I need some new coloring markers. These are the best kind. All my friends have them. They are super indelible, never come off till you're dead and maybe even later coloring markers. Mom, I need them. So Mother went out and got 500 super indelible, never come off until you die, or maybe even later coloring markers. Brigid took them and drew pictures for 3 weeks. She drew lemons that looked better than lemons, and roses that looked better than roses, and oranges that looked better than oranges, and sunsets that looked better than sunsets. Wow! She really likes to draw with those markers. Then she got bored. Oh no, not again. She said, I'm tired of drawing on the paper. But I'm not going to draw on the walls, and I'm not going to draw on the floor, and I'm not going to draw on myself. But everybody knows it's okay to color your fingernails. Even my mother colors her fingernails. So Brigid took a purple, super indelible, never come off till you're dead, and maybe even later, coloring marker, and she colored her thumbnail bright purple. Uh-oh. And that was so pretty, she colored all her fingernails purple, black, and yellow. And that was so pretty that she colored her hands yellow, green, and red. No, Brigid, no. And that was so pretty, she colored her face purple, green, yellow, and blue. And that was so pretty, she colored her belly button blue. And that was so pretty, she colored herself all sorts of colors, almost entirely all over. Then Brigid looked in the mirror and said, "Oh, what have I done? My mother's going to kill me." So she ran into the bathroom and washed her hands for half an hour. Nothing came off. Her hands still looked like mixed up rainbows. Oh no, she used the markers that don't come off. Then she had a wonderful idea. She reached way down into the bottom of the coloring markers and got a special colored marker. It was the same color she was. She took that marker and colored herself all over until she was her regular color again. In fact, she looked even better than before. Almost too good to be true. She went downstairs and her mother said, "Why, Brigid, you're looking really good today." "Right," said Brigid. Then her mother said, "It's time to wash your hands for dinner." But Brigid was afraid that the special color would not stick to the colors underneath. So she said, "I already washed my hands." She's trying to hide something from her mother. But her mother smelled her hands and said, "No soap." She took Brigid into the bathroom and washed her hands and face. All the special color came off, and Brigid looked like a mixed up rainbow. "Oh no," said her mother. "Brigid, did you color your hands with the coloring markers that wash off?" No. "Brigid, did you color your hands with the coloring markers that smell?" No. "Did you use the super indelible, never come off till you're dead and maybe even later coloring markers?" "Yes," said Brigid. "Yikes!" yelled her mother. Oh no. She called the doctor and said, "Help, help, help! My daughter has colored herself with super indelible, never come off till you're dead and maybe even later coloring markers." "Oh dear," said the doctors. "Sometimes they never came off." The doctor came over and gave Brigid a large orange pill. She said, "Take this pill, wait 5 minutes, and then take a bath." So Brigid took the pill, waited 5 minutes, and jumped into the bathtub. Her mother stood outside the door and yelled, "Is it working? Is it working?" Her poor mother. "Yes," said Brigid, "everything is coming off." And Brigid was right. Everything had come off. When Brigid came out, she was invisible. "Oh no," yelled her mother. "You can't go to school. You're invisible. You can't go to university if you're invisible. You'll never get a job if you're invisible. Brigid, you've wrecked your life." Oh no, poor Brigid. Now she just looks like a big pile of bubbles. "Don't worry," said Brigid. She ran into her room. She got the special colored marker and colored herself entirely all over until you couldn't tell the difference. In fact, she looked even better than before. Almost too good to be true. But her mother said, "Brigid, you can't go through life like that. You're just a picture. Everyone will know there is something wrong." "No, they won't," said Brigid. "Yes, they will," said her mother, who was so worried about this. "No, they won't," said Brigid. "I colored Daddy while he was taking a nap, and you haven't noticed anything yet." "Good heavens!" yelled her mother, and she ran into the living room and looked at Daddy. He looked even better than before. Almost too good to be true. "Doesn't he look great?" asked Brigid. "I couldn't even tell the difference," said her mother. "Right," said Brigid, "and neither will he." As long as he doesn't get wet." Oh no, Daddy went in the rain, and now he looks like he's all colored with the big coloring markers.
Oh no, look at Dad! She colored Dad with the markers that don't ever come off. And then she tried to cover it up with the other marker, but he got wet in the rain. And now he's all different colors, just like she did to her. This was a crazy book. At first, she was really good with the markers, but then she got a little carried away and did all the things her mom told her not to do. She colored on herself. She colored on the walls. She colored on Dad. Wow, that is not what you're supposed to do with markers. This was a funny book, but I don't want you to color on the walls or color on you or color on your dad. That would not be a good idea. Just read the book and enjoy it, but don't copy it. This was a fun book. She was a fun girl, but I really wish she had obeyed her mom and not colored on herself, because that led to a crazy situation. You know, whenever we don't obey, crazy things can happen. That's why Miss Dorothy's always saying, obey and obey right away. Obey and obey right away. Why? Because I want to protect you. And when you obey your mom and your dad and your teachers and your grandma and your grandpa, that's the best way to stay safe. And it's the best way not to turn invisible and not to get colored with markers. You know what? Miss Dorothy really wants to help you obey. So I'm going to pray about it tonight. We can pray tonight about how important it is to obey. Are you ready to pray with Miss Dorothy? Fold your hands and close your eyes. Dear God, thank you for my friends, and thank you that they keep coming back every night to hear my stories. Please help them to learn how important it is to obey the adults in their life. Obey their mom and obey their dad. Listen to their teacher and their grandma and their grandpas, and do what they say and do it right away. Please help them to understand that the only reason mom and dad and teachers are telling them to do things is because they love them and they want to protect them. And help my friends to understand that, and help my friends to obey and obey right away. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, my little friends, it's time for you to get off to bed. Coloring time is over. I need you to get under your covers, get cuddled up, curled up, ready for a really good night's sleep. And remember tomorrow, remember what we prayed about tonight. Obey and obey right away. And then come back and see Miss Dorothy. I'm going to be sitting right here, ready to read another book to you. Bye!
Thanks for reading with Miss Dorothy. I hope you enjoyed this book, and I hope you'll come back soon to read another. What's your favorite book? Drop Miss Dorothy a note and let me know. I'll go find it, and I'll read it to you. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share. I'll see you soon.